Well, it is Saturday, about 4 o'clock. Trying to make up for missing on Thursday and Friday. So I've been out here since 9:30 and it's 4 o'clock right now. And a little bit tired, a little bit messy, a little bit tired. And I've done about everything I've got the energy to do. While I was out here, there were at least 2 people dropped by. One lady, she drove up, she's from a few blocks away, and she picked a bunch of the okra. And then I had a gentleman originally from Chicago. He actually walked up instead of drove up, and we chatted for a little bit. In this area, you can see the peas are starting to come up. We'll see if they've got enough time to actually reach the trellis and do anything. There's still quite a few sweet potatoes. To try to dig them up right now, they're going to be kind of muddy. If you dig up a whole plant, take the potatoes, please take the plants and put them over where we're doing the compost rather than just leaving them here. Thursday, I believe it was, Chip and Chris and Judy, there were about at least four people came out, did a massive amount of work cleaning up, removing some plants, stuff like that. A massive amount. These collards are coming up, starting to look halfway decent. There is nutsedge in there, but they're coming up. Okra's still producing. I mean, there's still a small pod. The fava beans, these are the fava beans, okay? So don't pull those up. They're starting to come up. There's a couple of rows here. And so let's let those go, and they should overwinter. So they may get up 1 foot or 2 foot tall. That's fine. We'll see how they do over the winter and when they start producing. I may plant some more a little bit later just to kind of see how they do planted it early September versus maybe early November. These are more peas, more as a ground cover. You see those are coming up as well. There is a little bit of grass in here. You can when they get a little bit bigger, you can nip the very tips off for pea shoots for a salad. If they get big enough, they might produce some peas, we'll see, but if nothing else, the roots in the ground, building soil. These mustard greens doing pretty good, and people are harvesting. I mean, you see how thick it is right here. It was that thick here. Although I think people are pulling whole plants up rather than just taking the leaves. So let me show you something. When you're picking the collards, if you would, the way you need to do it is take one of the bigger leaves that you want, take that off, pick the bigger leaves, leave the smaller leaves, and that way they'll keep producing. If you pull the whole plant up, it's done, and then we have a hole. So if you would, when you're harvesting any of the greens, the collards, the mustards, the turnips, anything like that, if you're wanting just the greens, take the bigger leaf, break it off, leave the small leaves, and leave the plant so that it'll keep producing. Okay? Strawberries are making shoots. I need to look up and remind myself how and when to propagate those, to spread those. The asparagus is looking good. I mean, it keeps getting knocked over and stuff, whether it's from wind or people stepping on it. Sometimes I think people may think that they're weeds. They don't understand they're actually the crop. This time of year, depending on what kind it is and stuff, these little berries, these are going to turn red if they're allowed to, if people don't mess with them. They will turn red, kind of dry up, and those are the seeds. There'll be 2 or 3 seeds in each one of those berries. If you think about it, when you go to buy crowns, you may spend $12 to $15 or so for 3 crowns. There's 2 or 3 seeds in each berry, so each berry is worth $10 to $15. Just saying. So let's try to keep them here. Let's let them mature. Let's try not to kill the plants, break them off, or anything like that. And then those can be what we use to start, you know, in some potting mix or something, and makes the plot bigger. I used about 2/3 of the compost pile, sifted it with my high-tech custom sifter, which is just the grate off of a air compressor. And I'll show you what I did with those, but I sifted that. The big stuff is in this pile, and then here's the tomatoes and everything else that's been pulled out. I still need to go through there, chop it up in much smaller pieces, rebuild the compost pile, add some fresh wood chips, some chicken litter, stuff like that, and get the compost pile going. These turnips, of course, aren't doing much. Swiss chard, you see the three kind of lines. I planted some of the Swiss chard, tried to actually get the seeds down into the soil, and then stomped on them, or not stomped, but walked on them to get seed to soil contact. We'll see if those come up. Zinnias are still here. I see butterflies and bumblebees out the wazoo. These collards, I didn't replant any, but that's the compost that I sifted, and I just kind of filled in, tried to cover up the bare soil around it. So it is a mulch, but hopefully it's also got some nutrient in it, because it has been composting since early spring or so, and has had some things added to it, been turned a few times. So it's kind of a feeding mulch, but also just trying to keep the soil from being bare. These mustard greens are looking good. This row, since all of this had been uncovered, when we uncover it, we need to, for tarps and stuff, we either need to mulch it or plant it as soon as possible. And I've been trying desperately to get out here, but between the rain and other things, I haven't been able to get out here. Finally just did it today. So these rows, broad forked them to kind of loosen them up. Took that little bitty Honda tiller I've got, scratched the surface to make a seed bed. This one I put spinach down. I did not bring my kelp meal. I forgot. I've got it set out. I just am trying to get out of the house, you know, for the 3rd day in a row and not know if I'm going to get to go and stay. I ended up just leaving it. But made my seed bed, put my spinach seeds out, and then I walked over every square inch of it to get seed to soil contact. Then I put a thin layer of that compost / mulch on it and walked on that as well, again trying to get that seed to soil contact. And this may be what Dale's been kind of trying to get through my thick skull again, and we may not be communicating well, which is my fault. But yeah, this is my plan. This is what I prefer to kind of, you know, I really want to do. I just haven't slowed down enough. But make that seed bed, get this seed in there, get it pressed in, kind of like the press wheels on the planter or whatever you want to call it, get that seed to soil contact. And it seems to be doing better here if I just kind of walk on it a little bit. But anyway, so this has got spinach, that whole row. I need to make my signs. This is turnips, purple globe turnips. I did not uncover this one because we still had rows that were uncovered. So I left that one. Broad forked, did the same thing. Broad forked it, tilled it real lightly. The first little section here, I had a few collard seed left. The rest of it is turnips. It's purple top turnips. And again, walked on it, a little bit of compost, walked on that. I need to make my signs. And then I picked up all but one of the tarps. When everything, all the plastic tarps and stuff that was covering this, Chip and Chris and Dale and Judy and whoever else moved those over, put them over there neatly, but I went ahead and picked up all but one of them. And that's part of the reason why I'm so dirty and nasty right now. But so that's kind of where we're at right now. We'll see how those come up. I'll do that next row whenever I've got time and energy, and we'll start cleaning a lot of this other stuff up. I was hoping to maybe clean this out since it's not doing much, and put garlic in there. I've got some garlic, and then we can start cleaning these up. And you know, if we've got time, depending on what time of year, we might be able to plant something in some of these. If not, just get them cleaned up and ready for the leaves if we get them, and just be kind of getting ready for next year. But anyway, that's where we're at, and I'm fixing to get out of here and go rest a little bit.